Here we are today on the banks of the Thames, on the edge of the Queen's Windsor Great Park, and it's such an inspiring place to be, such wonderful surroundings and decent weather today, and to come to a horse event at this place I think is a great privilege for anyone who's interested in horses. Today I'm judging the tent pegging and skill at arms competition, and the tent pegging is, as it says, that is the skill of a mounted cavalryman in taking a peg, a shaped wooden peg from the ground with either a lance or a sword at the full gallop. It goes back so far, it's shrouded in the mist of time, but basically it comes from the mounted warfare in Asia way back in the Middle Ages, and then it was gradually developed and it became more used by the Asian, the Indian tribes on the subcontinent as a method of warfare, and then tent pegging was taken up by the British Army mainly as a cavalry sport. And history tells us that it was brought back to the UK about 1870-80 by, I believe it was the 16th Lancers when they came back from India, and put on a display at the Hurling and Polo Club, which introduced it to this country. For many years it was only done by the military and the mounted police, and then it was about 1996-7, the British Tent Pegging Association was founded with the idea of making tent pegging available not only to civilians but for people who left the army or the police and who wanted to continue with the sport. And there it's grown into a civilian and military joint sport.
My name's Paul Brown, and I'm currently a Special Constable in the South Yorkshire Police. It all started when I joined the police service, and I'd never been involved with horses before. I joined the mounted section in the early 80s, 81, 82. And one of the mounted officers there, a lad called Mike Kenwood, he was into it in a big way. I watched him several times. He taught me the techniques, got on the horse's back, and within 6 months of joining the branch, I was at my first event down in Norfolk. The attraction is the buzz of using the weapons, the speed, the acceleration, and I'm very competitive. I like to win.
And the pinnacle of the sport that I hope you're going to see here today is what we call the sword, lance and revolver, which is a competition which uses all those three weapons. Starting off with the sword on the rider's shoulder, he takes a jump, runs through a dummy on his right, takes another jump, runs through another dummy on his left, leaves the sword in that, and then draws his revolver, takes another jump and hopes to burst a balloon with a revolver on the jump, another one in between the jumps, and then a third one on the other side on the vast jump. Replaces his revolver, then canters around, picks up a lance and takes 2 rings and a peg, all to be done ideally in 45 seconds. It's marked on the basis of the Tent Pegging Association rules. If you're just taking a peg from the ground, you're scored 3 points if you strike the peg on the face, 6 if you remove it from the ground, 9 if you carry it over the 15-yard carry line, with 3 extra points for style and pace. If you're not going fast enough, you're not getting marks for that. And that's the same with the sword. Anybody who can get round a course like that without making a fool of himself or dropping a weapon, no matter what he wins, is a reasonable horseman.
As well as good horsemanship, having a horse that can cope with the diverse nature and added distractions that the sport brings is crucial.
Ideally, it's a horse that can gallop at speed, run straight, and stop when you're required to stop. And obviously, because of your handling weapons with one hand, you've got to have quite a lot of control of the animal. So the temperament's got to be right. It's got to be a steady sort of horse, and it's got to listen to the rider and the commands.
Usually small enough to be reasonably managed and handled, and not too strong and not too big. Ideally over about 13 to 14 hands, ideally over that. Anything over 17 is getting a bit too big for it. But having said that, it's what you've got, and people make the best of what they've got and usually are successful with them.
My particular horse is a retired West Yorkshire police horse. We've had him something like 12 years, and he's become an all-rounder. He tent pegs, he events, he dressage, and does quite well at all the sports.
From military tactics to a modern equestrian sport, tent pegging has come a long way. With more and more people trying the sport and more countries becoming involved, the future of the sport is looking bright.
Well, it's popular now in quite a few countries, India, Pakistan, Oman, a lot of the Asian countries, South Africa, America has evolved now, and Australia, so it is worldwide. We have now an international tent pegging federation which is based in Oman, and it's just evolved now to an all-rounder sport. From as young as we've had as young as 6, and we have juniors that are coming through. We've actually had junior teams overseas in South Africa, so we're doing quite well.
There's a very, very strong civilian element come along, and I'm very pleased to say that it's almost evenly balanced between men and women. So there are lots of other young people coming along who are eager to take up the sport, and they're not doing bad at it at all. We've had a team only this year go out to India, where our team did win a gold medal in one of the team competitions, and we're very, very proud of that, and we think that we can build on that and go forward.